and welcome to the show. I'm Jacquelene. You're on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV, and Happy New Year to all of you, no matter where you are in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon or evening where you are. So, yay, 2023. It's kind of interesting watching people going, can't wait to say goodbye to 2022. And some of these people are like doing this in front of kids, and it's sort of like, look, I know it's been tough, all right? I really get that. It's been kind of weird and chaotic and hectic and just strange, right? Strange few years. But I think it's really good to sort of say, all right, well, I'm looking forward to 2023, but I think also the other thing is it's like people going, oh, 2023, what were you? And it's sort of like, yeah, you know what, just make the best of what you got. That's not what I would sort of look at. You know, this year when we get through to the Chinese New Year, which I pay far more attention to, although the kind of influence of the Western calendar and Mercury retrograde just smack bang in the middle of that is kind of just wonderful. Sarcasm noted. But, you know, when the Lunar New Year comes through and the Chinese New Year, we're looking at the water rabbit coming through. Now, we've had the water tiger in 2022. We've got the water rabbit in 2023. So we'll be looking a lot about housing, homes, looking at things that help create calm and feeling of family versus anxiety and dissociation and all these sorts of things. And it'll be a 7-year, which is the Chariot card. And this is all about sort of movement, travel, oppositions. There can kind of be conflict, which, hello, Ukraine and Russia and all that sort of stuff. I mean, it's going on, isn't it? And we're looking also right now, while Mercury's in retrograde and the US, is it the House or the Senate? I'm not quite sure what you call that thing, but I'm watching you guys, your representatives are voting 3 times and unsuccessfully to find a speaker for the House. And it's like, okay, that's very Mercury retrograde. It's very kind of our times, isn't it? Because we've got all this sort of chaotic energy going on. So what is Mercury retrograde and why does it matter? And should I blame my life's complications on Mercury retrograde? No. Should we blame things on the moon or any other planet? No. We can look at the influence of it and go, oh, okay, all right, might want to learn a bit from that. When Mercury's retrograde, it's kind of a time to be very flexible about your plans, to allow extra time to get places, allow for weird and unusual communications from the past, allow for weird interruptions to your journey, you know, cancellations of things, cancellations of appointments, you know, and even like long-held secrets coming out to do with the past, you know, just resurfacing during Mercury retrograde, but also this kind of discord and arguments you're sort of seeing playing out in the US House Speaker position right now. It's kind of like, I've got these ideas, well, I've got these ideas, and they're not sort of meeting in the middle terribly well. You know, so I think the thing to do is to, when you're looking at really heavy or full-on planetary influences, not to go, well, it's that planetary movement's fault for that. It's like, no, we're human beings with free will. And get into a whole theosophical argument about that one. But sit back. If you don't know what to do, you don't have to know what to do necessarily, unless you've got an overdue parking ticket you have to pay or there's a bigger fine. Then obviously you've got to do that. Yeah. So it's sort of like taking care of the fundamentals, taking care of the things you must take care of. And it's like the things that you don't have to respond to straight away, just maybe want to sit back, you know, maybe just allow for the flow, as chaotic as it is, to kind of do what it's going to do. And you can even find that decisions you make or people you meet at the start of a Mercury retrograde, by the end of the retrograde, at the end of that retrograde period, you can sort of be going, wow, okay. Or you can even be changing your mind. So it's good to keep sort of flexible about things and allow for, you know, changes and challenges, and even for your mind to change as you go along, you know, in that. And the fact that we're ending 2022 on a Mercury retrograde and starting 2023 on a Mercury retrograde, which goes direct on the 18th of January, you know, I mean, yeah. You know, just try and be kind to yourself and other people during this period. If someone kind of cuts you off in traffic and they seem like they're in a daze, probably avoid them, yes, give them extra space, but, maybe kind of allow for the fact that something might be going on for them. Sometimes we don't know what's going on with someone else. And, a bit of patience and observance and at times avoidance is really helpful there. So rather than, I guess, tailgating them and finding out what happens if they brake check you, I think, give them that extra space. And an analogy my son and I like to use when someone is being really awful in traffic and is just, like, what is going on right now, is to say maybe they pooped themselves. Just follow this line of thought. Maybe they pooped themselves and they got to get home to clean that up. Or maybe they're about to poop themselves and they got to get home to the toilet real quick. And maybe they got lactose intolerance. I don't know. But it kind of makes you a bit more empathetic, but kind of amused in a way. I mean, not that that's necessarily amusing sometimes, but, it can kind of make it a bit lighter and realise there might be something going on for that person that, is adding to their erratic behaviour right now. And I think if we kind of do that, it can free us because we're not expecting of them something they're not going to do. We're not raising an expectation of how they should behave. And it's really good when Mercury's retrograde or when you're dealing with very mercurial events, which Mercury rules travel, it rules, communications. So things like phones, printers, computers, travel like planes, buses, trains, your car, I think it's just good to just sit back sometimes. I used to be able to time down to the minute when I needed to print out work for call staff in the call center I was working in, rather than have them working via the computer, because I would actually print this out ahead of knowing when the servers were going to go down. And so while you're printing this out, Jacqueline, what's going on? We've got computers for this. And I'm going, whoops, I accidentally printed the work out. Oopsie-doo. And then, boom, the servers would go down. So there was no database. You couldn't watch it. And, of course, I'd printed this out with the contact for people I had to contact and, the jobs I was assigning and this sort of thing. And I'd go, oh, it's lucky you printed that out, isn't it? And I go, yeah, it's luck. No, I knew that was going to go down. It's like how using that intuition, I would look through the database to find the person that would actually be home and would actually be happy to drive 25, 30, sometimes 80 miles for me. And the price at which I reckoned they would agree to do that, like the petrol pricing, fuel. And then this is when I first started in this place. This is a couple of decades ago. And I remember going up to the manager and going, look, I'm about to call such and such in such and such to do XYZ job for us. And, what's the maximum I can give them in mileage? Because I'm thinking that if I offer them this amount, they're going to agree to the job and do it. And they go, have you got them on the phone? Because that was process. You rang them on the phone, you asked them to do it, you then got them to agree to a mileage, you then got approval for the mileage, and then you got back, But by the time you did that with some people, they would just be, oh, look, this sounds like too much trouble, I'm just going to go. And so I said, well, no, but I know they're about to answer the phone. And they're like, all right. And, of course, I'd get them on the phone and they'd answer, and, yes, they'd agree to that amount, and, yes, they'd go and do that job. And I had 5 times higher assigning and stick rate with those subcontractors to do those jobs because I knew where in the database to look because I was following that instinct. Just like I knew as a supervisor to print out the work because the servers are about to go down. So when Mercury's retrograde, stay flexible, but use your instincts. It can actually help you a great deal to circumvent things like the time that I checked in way early for my plane flight, quickly got to the cafe, quickly got my order, had my laptop fully charged out, and got my order onto the table, sat down, and the whole airport lost power. I was fine. So don't blame the planets, move around them. That's what I would suggest. Now, I'm going to be at Rye this Sunday, the 8th of January, which is on the peninsula, way down in the peninsula of Melbourne. and I'll be doing live stage readings 11:30 a.m. free to the public. You just pay entry and you get all these lectures all day long. And I'll be doing free live readings demonstration for the public and also a talk on how to access your gifts. And I'll also be available for reading from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's when the expo's open. If you want to catch me down there. If you're not in Australia, sorry about that. You can always catch me online. And by phone and video appointments, no matter where you are in the world as well. In the meantime, I'm going to wish you a happy week and a happy new year, and I'll catch you next time. Lots of love, Jacqueline. See ya.